It's Iman Loren like Polo, the coldest living chica, the rep the go flow that goes got brains, to match the quote, the mother of the hood
and produced it.
Oh.
Tell me what your thought juice is, cause I bring the bottles and the truth is I'ma lay it out for all the fools here. I make it clear, 100 proof here. Ayy, Princess E money, time to cash out. I'll commando for the shortest hard clips out.
Do a little dance, shake a little ass.
I'm just tryna ask, what's your thought juice? Dun dun dun.
Oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen. Yes.
Let's give it up for the Real Hoodwives Chicago. What is up, everybody? It's your girl / boy, Iman Loren like Polo. And you already know what we here for. The realest show with the hottest stories. The Real Hoodwives Chicago, Season 4, Episode 2.
Wait, let me see if I can get her.
Let's go.
Let me get her. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. Like,
Them air horns. Season 4, we here.
Season 4.
4.0.
Yeah. I'm celebrating the 4th birthday.
Wow.
Of the podcast.
Still young. Still very young.
It's still very young. Very pubescent.
Yeah.
I really do want to look back at all of the episodes I did and see like what my actual count is.
A count of episodes?
Because I think like in true podcast fashion, it's like numbered.
Yeah.
But I did it like inspired by like a talk show, or like I really wanted to look back at it as like an archive.
Yeah.
That's what I love, to see all the names just collected under like the Real Hoodwives Chicago header, and it's like
heavy hitters,
big steppers. Yes, well, make some noise, everybody, for the one and the only Rich Robbins. Woo!
Hello,
yes. Hello, Rich.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm feeling great.
I bet you are.
You know, I can't complain at all.
Yeah.
It's like 48 degrees in January. You know, I got my Cavassier. I can't complain.
48 degrees in January is petrifying.
It is. It absolutely is. Mm-hmm. There's also a part of me that is like not complaining, you know, like
why would we?
Right.
What is there to complain about?
It's like this equal level of dread, and like, you know, I'm about it's 48 in January. Like, I don't have to pop out with a winter coat, but
you could be a nice, like, have like a nice breeze going, like a nice light jacket.
Right.
A nice light jacket, a nice bucket hat.
Yeah.
Doesn't need like a lot, but it's also global warming.
Right. So it's like, you know, you gotta stay on your toes, but be comfy while you staying on your toes. You know, be comfy while the world ends. Why not?
Yeah. You know, you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. So, hello, audience. My name is Rich Robbins. Mm-hmm. I hail from the suburbs of the west side of Chicago called Oak Park.
Whoa.
That's where I was born. I was raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, many locations in Philadelphia. Came back here, hip-hop artist, recording artist, really great performer. If you ever see me perform,
Talk your shit.
Started off as a slam poet. Mm-hmm. Transitioned into a music business mogul, you know what I'm saying?
Talk your shit.
Yeah. You
definitely are that. I was going to ask you, because we were talking about global warming, and I was like, well, you're an artist, so what's your artistic carbon footprint?
Oh, wow. That's crazy. My artistic carbon footprint.
How much does it cost to make your hoodies? Where are they made at?
They're actually made in Philly. How much it costs to make them? I don't know. I think, you know, I don't even know where they technically are made. I guess, you know, they're not. Is Sharks a place?
No, that's just like.
That's who making my hoodies?
No, that's how I'll be like, you know, like Sharks, like the show Sharks. So they'd be like, Sharks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'd be like, what's the turnover? But
I would freeze in front of all them. I'd be like, I
wouldn't dare go to Sharks. I wouldn't dare go to the Sharks, because I'd be like, ugh, now like, what happens if you reject me? Now this brilliant ass, well put together ass thing.
Yeah, but how much rejection have you faced already in your career, right? And me too, right? Like, that's just as like where we're at in life. We've had to overcome a lot of rejection, no? Like, I mean, at least I have, and I would imagine like maybe some. Iman's like, I've never been rejected for anything ever in my life.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm literally fucking perfect. I literally, right. I can't tell you. I'll be like,
rejection.
Ooh, that's trash. I couldn't imagine. No, I get rejected. Like artistic fellows.
Yeah.
None that I really majorly applied to. Okay, I guess I faced rejection a lot in high school.
Yeah.
With standardized testing, not going to the school you want. I wanted to go to an OPRF. Well, I did get accepted into Curie, but nobody told me I was supposed to apply to multiple high schools. So I only applied to like 2.
Right.
And I was like, oh, well, I got in.
Yeah.
So I guess I started off pretty perfect young.
Right. And that just carried on into the rest of your life.
And then you perfect perfect. And
Wow. What do you have after perfect?
Like heaven.
Damn. So you are in your heaven phase right now in life.
Yeah, as a Scorpio, everybody thinks I'm in hell.
Damn.
But, as Lynn Whitfield say, I vacation there. And that's how I feel. Yeah, bars. Well, how are you feeling?
Great.
I bet you are, because before we forget, this is a segment called What's Your Juice? Yes.
What's happening, folks? I'm Black the bartender, and welcome to the Pink Polo, where we juice your thoughts. What do you have, huh? What? All right, sure. Coming right up. All right. So first, you're gonna take you a nice rock glass, right? Preferably one with pink and some grip on it. All right. You know what I mean, right? Then we're gonna take some very nice Cavassier. We want her stiff. We want her neat, right? Now you can do it with ice, but we got other wet things around here, folks. All right. All right. There you go. What you wanna do is that you wanna give it a nice even pour, right? Serve it up neat. Serve it up warm. Serve it up on a coaster, and there you go. Cavassier neat, also known as the hard and tender, or in other words, which Robbins thought juice.
Podcast
out, do a little dance, shake a little ass. I'm just trying to ask, what's your thought juice?
What is Rich Robbins thought juice?
So Rich Robbins thought juice is a neat glass of Cavassier.
I'm not drinking that. No, let me tell you something. I'm doing a cleanse.
What is this that you're drinking?
I'm drinking ginger beer.
Yeah,
I'm doing a cleanse, and I also understand that time doesn't exist in the world of film. So
I am not doing a cleanse. I am putting the toxins in my body, right now, and it's a neat glass of Cavassier, which I was telling you before we started that my homie that speaks French says that we say it completely wrong.
I just bet we do.
But I'm not gonna try to say it because I don't know. I'm just gonna butcher it. And
I speak a little French.
You speak. What do you say? What do you say? What do you know?
I mean, it's mainly when I have sex.
You speak French when you have sex?
Yeah, I know enough to get around Paris and enough to make a nigga nut.
While speaking French?
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
It's a little wee wee. Okay.
I'm not gonna give it away. Like, you got to get my OnlyFans content for that. But I don't have an OnlyFans. But
I was gonna say you be speaking French on your OnlyFans. So.
I would. Well, what I plan on doing for my OnlyFans is very niche, right? So I was talking to our last guest and about my tentacle kink. I have a tentacle kink, so I would love to do something very niche in porn.
Okay.
I would be a little Tinker Fairy. And then whoever I'm fucking with, we're I don't know, what's those people that's half ram, half person?
Minotaur.
Yes, a Minotaur mask.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
very
I
neat.
see the vision.
You know what I'm saying? Or you be an alien, get some nice special effects makeup.
Yeah.
Your girl does that. And I'd be a little Zelda bitch.
Yeah.
Wow, super niche. But, for now, you can catch me, streaming on Twitch, in a pool of Jell-O playing video games.
In a pool of Jell-O?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. That's in a bikini,
Yeah. I've always wanted to start a Twitch, but I never really knew, first of all, I don't even know how to set it up. I just feel like that's a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
And then, I just wouldn't know. I definitely had not thought about possibly bathing in Jell-O while streaming a video game. That sounds much better than my ideas.
I appreciate that. I think that your music making sessions would be a hit. A lot of people, you can do anything on Twitch.
Yeah.
And it's, not as, PG, Oh yeah, that's what I also wanted to say. You know, last season we kept it real PG, but this season we back, bitches, and we're bigger, badder, wetter, and rated E for everyone.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, Mr. Soft and Tender.
Yes.
Tell me about what is like soft and tender. What does that like encompass? Where did that arrive from?
Yeah, so the Soft and Tender, I guess, brand now you could call it. You know, started off as one record, one song about my relationship with my father, and the way that he raised me as a kid. You know, he was always very affectionate. And never really like shied away from that in a way that made it just normal for me, you know. And it wasn't until like growing up and just kind of starting to consume stereotypes and consume race relations and even just masculinity, just understanding how rare it was that my dad did that when I was a kid, you know. And not to say that we didn't have our bumps and bruises, because we quite literally have had that before, you know. But it's been his response to those moments that I'm like, that's where not those soft responses are strong as hell to me, you know, because it's like, it's so easy to give into your pride, and it's so easy to be like, I'm gonna just beat a nigga's ass right now because I'm mad, you know. But I think it's a lot harder and a lot more there's a lot more restraint to like, I really want to beat this nigga's ass, but I'm gonna just show some love right now.
Yeah.
And then we all just gonna walk up out of here.
Yeah.
You know? And I picked that up from him. And so that's where it all started. And then it was a couch like this that I was talking to my homie who speaks French, who told me how to say Cavassier.
Shout out to the homie that speak French.
Hey,
like, we gotta get you on the show.
Real talk. Because he taught me how to say Cavassier, and he taught me, or not taught me, but he talked with me throughout this, you know, the thought process behind the Soft and Tender series of like, yo, what if you sat down with other people who maybe either experienced what you experienced or didn't, and still ended up in the seat next to you, you know, and like, let's like find some closure through those stories, you know? So that's really what it's blossomed into, is like this interview series / we have like a radio show that's coming out, Soft and Tender Radio.
Oh, you need a Hoodwives collaboration.
I'm so open for that. So open for that. You know, merchandise that'll be coming out, more like live interviews, more episodes. We're looking for distribution for the current 3 episodes that are filmed right now. So that's what Soft and Tender is, and that's where the root of it. Now, where it's at today in terms of like what it's grown into is like, it's not really just about fatherhood anymore, but I think it's really about making vulnerability accessible to folks, you know? Yes,
I think that is so important. I always flex that like my vulnerability is my greatest strength and attribute. Like, it's nothing that you can expose on me. Like, I expose myself. I live in my like rawest, purest emotion. Like, what you gonna do, bully me because I'm crying? Like, you gonna make me cry some more? You gonna make me cry some more?
Right.
How does like, so it sounds like you're doing like a lot of like unlearning. How does that unlearning play a part into like you like courting women?
So courting women is such a
I mean, Musa taught me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Do people still use that?
I like it. I really do like courting. Right.
So if I understand courting, right? It's
okay.
Really, it's like dating, right? It's like,
yeah.
Okay. So how do I take that unlearning into my dating life?
Yes, because you know, I think similarly, I think about like how when I date women, right? Like, you know, like I think like a lot of stuff is like practice, like, you know, misogyny and chauvinism.
Yeah.
And so in the similar fashions of like me courting women, that is not my steez at all. Like, I don't want to approach you in the ways that I've seen men approach women, right? So I always approach it from like what I know would make me comfortable, and that's how I approach it.
Yeah, you know, so I there's kind of layers to my response that I'm about to say right now, right? Because on one hand, when I say it's challenging, I mean that word challenging is in perspective to like, I walk with a lot of privilege, right, as a man. So when I say challenging, it's not like the worst challenge in the world by any means, right? But it does become kind of challenging in a social context to try to be like gentle with my approach to women, you know, because that's kind of how I would want. At the end of the day, I think I'm gonna want to be with somebody who wants a more gentle approach, right? Because that's more natural for me. But when we like in a bar setting or some shit, or in a club setting, like, that don't work, right?
Right.
And that becomes the challenge of like, damn, then I have to kind of be somebody I'm not in
Let's
order
talk
to
about
succeed
it.
in this space, right?
Let's talk about it.
Right. In order to like, you know, take somebody home or something like that, or like, you know, or
What
go,
is the energy?
Exactly. And is that energy authentic to who I am?
And like, is that energy predominantly in like a hyper masculine space?
It for sure is, right?
Yeah.
It for sure is.
Yeah.
Right? And so like that ain't me. And so
That
like,
ain't me.
Sometimes that could be hard, because I'm like, damn, I know I get a vibe that like if we all out and I was more assertive, then, you know, maybe I would be going back home to like what I wanted to tonight. But there's a lot of missed opportunities with that shit, you know?
I mean, I feel you, because I think that like also when I'm like dating women, it's or like approaching a new woman, it's often like who's the top, right? Like who's gonna be the top first, right? I don't know if I like approach as many women as I would like to.
Yeah.
But that is because like of the sake of like being respectful or wanting to be respectful.
Right.
But then I'm also just like, as a shorty myself, like, you know, like if a woman like got down on that with me, like not so much as like in a cat call, so to speak, but like just I think it's a fair balance of masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, no, facts. So have you ever approached a man with more masculine energy?
Yes, a queer man.
And how did that go?
You know what? Okay.
See, it's layers to this shit, right?
We gotta talk about it. Okay, so I think what they were expecting was me to be a dom, was to me to dominate them. Okay. Right? And I was kind of conflicted, because I was like, you know, they were very respectful, very consenting, but like for me to dominate someone, like I don't want to dominate someone for the sake of queerness. You know, if that makes sense, right? Like when I'm dominating someone, it's like it has to like just feel natural, not because like what is the way I'm looking to explain this? Like you see me and like you see that I hold masculine energy, so like that's what it's going to be automatically.
Yeah, it's
that
going
makes
to be
sense.
more fluid than that, right?
Yes,
like,
it has to be more fluid than that. So it's like when I do approach someone, like a man with dominant energy who is not queer, I'm usually being paid for it. Or it's like, you know, like somebody really wants that, or it's like, you know, I just did hella Molly and it's like,
the Molly switching. Now I feel like with something like that, like Somalia or whatever it is, you know, anything else that you say, I feel like then I can find the balance better.
I ain't gonna even hold you. Fucking off of Molly is very difficult for men because it makes your body retreat.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. But I'm talking about just like in the social concept, like in the social setting.
Yes.
Like I could find the balance. It's like that fluidity of and that masculine. And
you just
feminine.
be walking around the room like.
But in real talk, it's like masculinity and femininity is just like these energies that are floating around us, you know. And I feel like when you're off like something like that, then you can kind of like float with the energy a little bit more, you know. But like when your inhibitions are blocking you, then you don't see that shit. Like cats, dogs, and shit, they be seeing a different spectrum than we can see, you know. And I think those energies might be included in that.
Yes, that's so interesting, because I was also talking to my therapist about like how sex can be performative for me. Yeah. Like, so another time I will dominate a situation is like when it's like the first time. Cause I'm a fantastic fuck, guys. Rich, I'm a fantastic fuck. I'm not a lazy lay. I'm a fantastic fuck. Okay.
Talk your shit.
Yeah. So I feel like even if we don't talk after this, I'm gonna be one of the best people you've ever fucking had sex with. I'm gonna be one of the best people you ever fucking had sex with, and you're gonna walk away from me feeling refreshed. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm top 3. I know it. Right. So it's like I'm feeling myself. I'm in my steez, right? Like money flow, right? And then it's like, you know, I'll get on top of you and I'll squirt on your chest and like slap you around. Yeah, I go there. Like, yeah, let's consensually abuse each other.
See, okay, but see that now this looks that looks different. That looks different for me than it does for you.
I'm sure it does, but I'm okay. All right, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, going from soft and tender, right?
Yeah.
How does that play a part into you being? Are you like a soft dom? Like what's
Nah, so nah.
what's your steez?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That I think a soft dom. I wouldn't say that. I think it's how do I explain this?
I also understand if like labels don't want to be attached because I'm always striving to move away from labels. But like,
No, I've just
if you
never-
was putting it in a field,
Right. in a scan.
if you had to break it down to someone who was trying to purchase you.
Oh damn.
Well, no, not like that.
Slavery.
But like, no.
No, I'm just playing with you.
You make a great sugar baby.
That's so funny. I was just talking to somebody about sugar daddies and sugar babies, and sugar mamas.
I would swoop you up.
I in a different life, I think I had a sugar.
Yeah,
mama for sure.
I
Yeah.
definitely think so too.
I do. I feel like older white women would love to spend money on me.
I don't like that for you. I think you can find you a nice 40-year-old Shirley,
Yeah.
Miss Ann, a nice 40-year-old Miss Ann. And let me tell you something. She like works at like she owns a franchise of a bank, or she's a prop, or she's like a real estate agent or something, a real estate person. She rich.
It's a different tier of.
She
like,
rich. Like you can get you a nice black woman, like, 40s, that's your second win. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So she's just looking for like a nice little young thing to keep her
Right.
young and vibrant, someone soft and tender.
Right.
She buy you like Kendrick Lamar concert tickets
Oh my God.
and, studio equipment. I can
Oh my
totally see
God.
that for you.
I might have to in the multiverse. This is happening.
It's happening.
This is happening.
It's happening.
I gotta find that, Rich. But no. In terms of your question, I've just never thought about am I a soft dom in the bedroom. So when I really think about it, I'm
so
I
excited.
pride myself on I'm adaptable as fuck. Like, I'll just say it like that. Like,
Okay.
Iman, I stay in the gym. My creativity is always on point and sharp.
Right.
So like when it comes down to it, it's like I get a lot of pleasure off of you getting a lot of pleasure. So
Okay.
what's gonna bring you pleasure?
You're a pleaser.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you like to be pleased.
Right, and it's good that those work in tandem with each other.
Yes.
Like, I get more pleasure, the more you get more pleasure, and I could do a lot. So what you want to do?
I have a few questions because
Yeah.
I need to know all this. I know that when I had asked you, we had actually planned this a long time ago, like damn
Yeah.
near like a year ago, a year or two ago.
Damn near like when
First
we
started working.
Yeah, when we first started working together, it was brought up like pretty instantly, which was crazy because I told you this, but I've been tapped
Yes.
into this for a long minute, and I'm like, damn, I'm not a hood wife.
You
But
are.
I can't be on it.
Sugar baby.
I can't be on it. But then I saw some of the other guests, and I was like, no way, I could do this.
Yes.
I could do it, and now I'm here.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to use this opportunity to like see the multiple sides and multiple layers to you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dominating, like what does that look like for you? Like if you're because I know I said like let's consensually abuse each other, right? And I like right? Like
Okay.
what's your steez? Like do you like to spit in the mouth? Do you like to slap and choke? Like are you like a bitch?
So not
Do
that.
the dishes.
Not that.
No.
Not well. I guess I've never been put in a situation where that was asked.
Okay.
Like I think there are parts of me like I think porn will tell you a lot about somebody, right? Like
Okay, what's your porn
know,
category?
So, but like it's a lot. Like
Okay.
it's just like it's that fluidity of like what am I
Gotcha.
feeling today?
Gotcha.
Like that's really what it is. And so I think that translates to like being willing to do a lot with again whatever pleases the person. That's what we on type of
Mm-hmm.
shit. I've never been pushed to my limit. I'll tell you that.
Okay. I will say though, like it is like so because I'm like doing this cleanse and like abstaining, so I'm doing no drugs, no sex, no masturbation, no alcohol, right?
It's a lot of vices.
Enjoy your fucking Cavassier. Enjoy your Cavassier. So with that is like me looking heavily into like the intention of like how am I sharing my body with others?
Yeah.
How am I also sharing my body with myself?
Yeah.
Because I can masturbate, like I can get 20 nuts out a day, make myself come in less than 2 minutes. And to the average ear and eye, that's highly impressive. Or wouldn't that feel, thank you. Yeah. Or wouldn't that,
don't like, you know, that's a talent.
It is.
A talent.
I mean, it's really about the grace of that 10-second forward button.
For
like
real.
That 10 seconds
For real.
on the chest,
man,
getting it out.
I laugh because I know exactly what you mean.
Yes,
like,
that 10 seconds. So, but like that drains a lot of energy. That also makes like I feel like I'm losing like my chi, so to speak. Sure. So but versus like when I'm masturbating like off of shrooms, like I put a dick on the wall, I like squirt and aim for the stop sign across my bed. Like it's real like a magical moment with myself. Like I feel my pussy engorged. Like it really becomes something like eccentric with myself. Yeah. And so that's why I'm being like real intentional. And I think that it's also going to help shape how I approach people I have sex with what I want. Yeah. Like, hey, like, you know, last time we had sex, like we were both lit and really, really excited to be in each other for the first time. Yeah. I want you to do this and this and this. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you have the capacity to do that? Can you do this? Is it something that you want to do to me?
Now this is a conversation that you would have on the second.
I mean, okay, that's super real. I think like in the first one, because okay, this is where it gets finicky. I think the situation depends. Right. Right. Like I think like with someone that I'm very familiar with. Or even someone I may not be that familiar with, like performance on go. Like I know what to do. Yeah. I know what to do. Hey, hey, I suck a mean dick. Okay. All right. Let's do that. And then you know the ass is fat, the titties is fat, my stomach is flat. I am the baddest bitch. Right. But like put the one down on them. Put the ass up. It's just it's a performance. Yeah. It's a performance. Like I want to be like. And also, I guess, like, performing makes me also feel good, too. That's also another note to it. Okay. Like, I'm not just,
that's a big
note.
Yeah.
Like, I love, like, taking me in. I know it's a lot to take me in. But I also feel myself taking myself in. And, like, also knowing that I know how to pleasure myself now. Yeah. So those are the layers. So, like, the first time I'm like, okay. Like, there's not really much to be... I don't think there's room for talking. About it, but I really would like to be intentional. Like if I think that it definitely matters. Like if I'm like having a threesome with somebody, that conversation definitely matters to make sure that all parties are like comfortable. Like that's two different other consents that you're dealing with. Right. That's two different bodies, two different minds. Right. That may be two different aftercares. So it's like. There's a lot more intention that goes to that. Yeah. And way more communication. Way more. You have to. You have to. Well, you have to. I'm telling you have to. Guys, communicate. Have those conversations with your partners, for real. Yeah. But the second time, especially after this, I'm really looking forward to it. And I find that, like, I'm pretty sure it like kind of blows people. We strive here at the Real Housewives Chicago. We strive for sex positivity, a sex positive world. Yeah. I think that idyllically, I would love to like. Well, I know that like that might also be something that turns somebody on. It should get to a point where I can be like, "Hey, so dinner was great. Thank you. How was your food? It was great. Okay, cool. So I would love if you can like take me home and choke me up, spit in my mouth a little bit, a lot of it, and like abuse me, demolish me. Now, is this like every time this is what you're looking for, or is that just like right now I'm in the mood for this, and like tomorrow it might be a different conversation with you? You know what? To be honest, Rich, I ain't gonna even hold you. Yeah, I ain't gonna even hold you. To be honest, I ain't gonna even hold you. Yeah. Like, I don't think I've gotten like the full fantasy that I acquire. I've came pretty close a few times. Yeah. Like one time I was like with a toxic ex and he was real experienced in like dom. And that was kind of like my first experience like with a dom. Damn. And that shit was bonkers. Oh my God. My pussy was so fucking wet. I haven't like dripped like that since I was like a shorty. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like impeccable, right? And I think another time that came close is like the first time I squirted. Like that was like a whole nother body experience. But I feel like I'm typically providing the fantasy, and I would love for somebody to provide the fantasy for me. And I feel like I can get it without paying for it, because I've definitely thought about that too.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, pause right there. So you said typically you are providing the fantasy. What does this mean?
It means like
you come into the table with the ideas and you want.
I feel like
else.
I'm like, once like you're having sex with me, like, oh, I've always wanted shit like this. Like,
right,
you know,
right,
like
right.
I've always wanted like my face to be squirted on. Like, you know, like it's like,
I
feel like I'm usually like fulfilling like the fantasy that was like never communicated with me.
Yeah.
And so it's
yeah.
like, you know, I won't go so, like there's a few things that like I have like kind of like my limits on that I don't want to do, or like all the tricks I won't pull out the bag. But yeah, I would love to get my fantasy acquired.
You know what would be really raw is like, and I'm sure somebody offers this, but I think you could do it probably the best, is like some type of like workshop where like you encourage people to figure out what that fantasy is.
Oh
'Cause
my
I think,
God.
Like for me,
That's so fucking hard.
Maybe I know I'm not the only one that feels this way, but because of like how I grew up and my relationship with sex growing up, like I don't even know what I want to possibly do sometimes, you know, like I feel like very similarly I'm the provider of the fantasy, you know, and I've never really investigated myself like, bro, what do you want?
Right.
Like what would wow you, instead of like you being wow, you know,
Yes.
or like you wowing like the other people, you know. So I definitely feel that, but I've never had a space to do that.
Yes. What is like what's a fantasy of yours? Yeah, come on. I know you also a comic book nerd.
Are there any? Let's see. I don't see like what. Okay. This might be like, maybe this is like an elementary level fantasy, you know, in terms of like the sex world. But even just like I've never had a threesome before.
Okay.
Even just a threesome would be a fantasy for me, or is a fantasy for me. You know, like I want to just say I did one, and like that was a bucket item list, and then I go skydiving tomorrow. That's another bucket item.
There you go.
Item list. You know. So that's what I mean. It's like, you know, there are like these like tiers to fantasies that you could have, you know, and like I would love to one day get to the point where it's like, you know, like let's do like a Comic-Con fantasy or something.
Yes.
Shit, you know.
Oh my God. That is like, I mean, shout out to the furry fandom. Like, I appreciate you. Okay. Like, it takes a lot of courage to fuck in a mascot suit. Okay. I mean,
wow.
I don't want to just like demand.
So hot as fuck, like.
First of all, I fear no fandom, so I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want to say, right? But it does take a lot of courage to fuck in a mascot suit. But they don't even be fucking. I think they just be like
grinding each other through the mascot suit. Yeah.
But if I had to be a furry, I would be like Knuckles. Like I would fuck Knuckles from Sonic.
Okay.
Like
Knuckles is raw.
he was like the red one. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
yes,
Knuckles, yeah.
yes, I would fuck
Down
only.
for sure, yo.
Yes, he could knock the rings out.
And your hair red too? Yeah, I feel the Knuckles energy.
Yeah, come on, Knuckles, come knock my rings out, right?
Yeah.
So like if you wanted to like slap somebody or like choke somebody, what would be like, how would you prefer for them to approach you? Like, is that your thing?
It can be. I mean, yeah.
Do you like to be like slapped around?
I don't think I like to be. I mean, nah, not really. Nah.
Okay, but like, what if like they're riding you and like they like, you know, squirting on you and like it feels really good. Like I can't hold you. Like if I'm like riding you like and it's like so good and I'm like scooting on you, like
But just
a slap gonna come out.
Might just have to hurt you.
A slap gonna come out. A slap, a choke, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But like,
Nah, I feel
it's
like,
bound to come
I'm
out.
gonna be real with you, I feel like that would get me mad.
Really?
You know, like I'm not
Damn.
trying to feel it just like pleasure pain is cool, you know, but like
Right.
pain, like don't shock me and by like
Okay.
that's
that
gonna
is fair.
mess up my rhythm, you know.
That
Then
is
I'm
fair.
Like, damn, nigga, what? Like,
That is fair. I think that's when like that brings to the point that like sex conversations are encouraged to have beforehand. Because like if I tell you like, hey, I would like for you to slap me, I would like for you to like do this and that to me, you have to test my limit.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to test it in a moment, because like what if you like deck my ass?
That's what I'm saying, right? Like in the moment, yeah. Like let's not surprise each other like that in the moment. Now surprises are fine, you know, but like that. Man,
yes.
But if we have a talk beforehand, and that's the expectation,
and it could be hot,
you know, right? It could be
like a nice Netflix and chill Thursday. Make some charcuterie. Next thing you know, you're on the couch getting the tongue in your butt.
Just you know, punching somebody, bleeding.
You know what? Speaking of bleeding, I know this jumped a few places. Jumped a few places real quick.
Speaking of bleeding,
speaking of bleeding, I don't mind like seeing scars like on me. Like you can abuse me to the point, and I say abuse because that's the language I feel comfortable in. But the proper terminology is consensual, non-consensual. I don't really feel comfortable using that because like niggas found out what that shit is, and that's just giving them excuses to be a rapist. So like, it's like, no, consensual, non-consensual takes a lot more conversation. It's basically like rape plays, so to speak, right? But there's more tender language around it. But you can full on like smash me into a wall, like, and like I would love to be in the shower, like, and see like hand marks on me or like marks on me, and you know, and they wouldn't be a triggering thing because with a respectful partner, then you will also have aftercare. So, you know, you'd be like
that safety afterward.
Yes, be like,
come
babe,
out of the performance.
Yes, I really did a number on you, sweetheart. Are you okay?
Damn.
Like, yeah, damn, I'm cool.
See, like,
I'm cool.
That's love. That's love. But again, that's just the beautiful thing about communication and just being on the same page and shit, you know? So again, like, I am not opposed to anything as long as, like, let me just get an understanding of it before this happens and understand, like, what is it that you're looking for? All right, bet, you know, like, why not try it one time, 2 times, 3 times, whatever, you know?
What's something that you tried before that you, like, end up loving?
That I ended up loving. I think I think like some role play stuff, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, some
you
stuff
do
that,
give role play vibes.
You know, maybe it's the comic book, like I'm down to cosplay. So maybe some people
it could be so. I feel like it's so adorable when you would do it.
What like the role?
Yeah, well, like what would you be? Who would you be?
You know, there's been this is so funny, bro. There's been the teacher, obviously, you know, there's been the
Professor Rich.
There's been a fan, you know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Wait, like you've been a fan of somebody, or like
no,
they pretended?
Like,
oh,
yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would say those would probably be the top 2. I've tried other things and it was like kind of a force, you know, like the police officer thing, like I would like wasn't for me type shit, you know. Think I've tried like a doctor before. I'm just like, that's cool, but not there yet, you know. I think part of it has to be like there's got to be like a close to home kind of feel to it, almost, you know, like. Yeah, like what's just like taboo enough that's like I can almost attain this in my real life.
And you can really do it. No, because like you have to like fall into it like kind of naturally. What's my role play?
What's something that you didn't expect to love?
Okay, getting my toes licked for sure.
Okay.
That's one. It's one I think that kind of hits you with maturity.
I would actually agree with the toe thing. That very much surprised me when that happened. Yeah.
Yes, like I think it kind of hits you with maturity. Like no, like you're like a pristine woman. Like, you know, like it's just it's a visual thing. It's an optics thing. Yeah. And I think like it does like spark that like, look at this nigga. Like,
damn right.
My feet in his mouth, like
that's hot.
I should run your bank account.
What else can I make you do, nigga? Right.
What else can I make you do? I love it. I be like, I think that definitely hit me. Ass eating, you know, I'm still trying to work my way around it. I love to do it, but I think like for me getting it, it doesn't really do nothing for me physically yet.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I love butt plugs. Like butt plugs really shock me.
Okay.
I'm saving my butthole for marriage.
Okay.
Supposedly. Like I would love to get a dick in it, but I don't know. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like being nervous.
Yeah.
And I think that with that, it also acquires someone to be the most tender person, the most soft-spoken person.
Super patient.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah. I've been on the giving end of it, you know, and had to be patient with it and everything. It's cool, you know.
You really give anal vibes.
It's
like college,
college,
college.
Yeah.
Ass.
I mean, you know, it's just another thing to try.
Oh
you
my
know?
God.
And as long as she was down with it, then cool. But it was okay. I mean, you know, I feel like it's almost like it's too much work for like what you get out of it. You know.
Yeah, a shitty dick. Not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time. But it's like it's just so much like it's fucking work.
Yes. And then you can't pull it out too soon because you don't want to get hammered. But like butt plugs,
But I've played around with butt plugs. Yeah. Never me. See, I'm big on I know like no butt shit with me. Like
for you, so like no getting your ass ate or nothing like that.
No, like I am deathly scared. Like one day the doctor's gonna have to check my prostate. Fuck that shit.
You gotta get a colonoscopy,
bro. It's just that's the shit that nightmares is made out of. You know? Like,
Rich.
Look.
Iman. You are self-intended.
Iman, I'm gonna be like, you know what, doc? We just gonna overlook that one. Just check that off, doc. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! Please get a prostate exam. Please get a colonoscopy.
Look,
I'm gonna be really fucking sad.
No, look. One day, obviously, you know, you get take care of your health. How you take care of your health, you know. But you more lit than me. I'm on that Kavasi Ha.
My thought juice is ginger beer, dry jam. This cleanse, man. This cleanse is going so good. I'm really happy for it.
We'll close the butt plug, the butt.
Yes. Okay.
Shit,
well,
right.
I will close it with like my real play fantasy is like, I know this is like a sketchy term, but like predator versus prey. I would love to have like a foxtail glass anal plug. Okay. Put it in the freezer.
Oh, that's so
put that
specific.
in my put it in my ass. Then like prancing around the house like a little fox, and then like you're like this hunter, and it's like whatever I catch I find. And
wow, yeah, okay.
Minka maka moka moka.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to make a fur pelt. That's all right. We'll close that.
So the cleanse,
yes.
Right? Okay. Now, I feel like I'm at a point where maybe a cleanse is in my near future. You know, I smoke a lot of weed. I don't drink a lot anymore. You know, I changed my diet up a little bit to be more clean and everything. But I hear folks that do like, you know, the dry, you know, month or 3 weeks, whatever, 2 months. And they feel like they can connect to their bodies so much more. And I feel like maybe it's the weed, but I love weed so much. Like I can't give up. It's so hard. I shouldn't say I can't. It's just hard on my creativity and everything else to like give that up, you know. But like there's some type of block between my brain and my body right now. You know, and you think the cleanse has connected you.
I definitely do. I definitely know that like smoking does like play a part into connectivity. Like it also could depend on the type of weed. But for me, like, yeah. You know what? Though I feel connected to my body, I feel, I don't know. I feel like I can go on forever without, like, fucking now. And I kind of don't know how I feel about it. Like, like, I know I could definitely do without porn. Because I get tired of porn. I get tired of porn. But someone did just put me on to this all-black porn site, like, membership called Black Touch. Shout out to Jan. Shout out, Jan. Thank you, Jan. Okay. But Black Touch, and it's incredible. And it gives more to the eye. So I can definitely do without porn. But I'm really not trying to, I'm not trying to have weak sex. Like, and, like, I'm just, like, also, I'm understanding that that is connecting with another energy, too.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm looking at like what fulfills me intimately, what are my values and how do I set boundaries around those values.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like kind of like unlearning. It's kind of like a dual process. Because it's like on one hand, like, yeah, like I'm sexually liberated, but like, where did that come from?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the history of that?
Right.
Was I really
right.
like, you know, I say this all the time, like, was I really like 16 and sexually liberated? Or was I 16 and hypersexualized?
Yeah.
Then I have this brand glossed around me.
Yeah.
That is like for sex positive, albeit very important and
Right.
very necessary, especially for young Black girls.
Right.
But like, I'm growing in that.
Right.
Like I'm always growing in sex.
Right.
Not growing in my body. Even looking at how like I look at myself in relationships, like I don't recall being single. Like I always,
How long have you been single? Like, what was your longest stretch of being single?
you see, even if I was single, I had like a best friend, so I still had somebody I was codependent on.
Always had access.
I always had access to somebody, and like me and her was frivolous with each other, or like, you know, I had my fucking around days, but it wasn't like I was like fucking around.
Yeah.
I just had some consistent home-based dicks, you know, like,
Yep.
and those are like still relationships, like. And I was talking to my best friend Joe, and you know, she was like, "Well, you're a mirror. Like you mirror yourself to people." And I was like, "That's very true. I've seen myself grow. I can clack and log every moment I was in my life based off of who I was in a relationship with."
That's really interesting. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I'm tackling it. That is like where it's like connecting my mind. But yeah, I'm horny, but I'm like figuring out like, how do I want to be horny? Because I feel like I could choose.
Yeah.
I could choose.
Look, some people act reckless as fuck when they horny. Like they get destructive when they horny.
Yeah, I'm not understanding how my dry January got niggas on full wet. I'm really not understanding that. It feels kind of territorial.
You know why? I was gonna say because they want to be the one to
bring
break
you to
that
my
shit.
homecoming. There
Yes.
you go.
Yes.
Niggas is trying to bring me to my homecoming, and you know, I got two people in mind.
I was gonna say, do you know how you gonna break it? That's funny as hell. Yeah.
I have 2/3 people in mind. I don't know what I want to do.
Same time.
You know what? That is what's gonna happen this year. In the year of the 8, I'm gonna get my train. I'm gonna get my threesome with 2 men. I'm gonna sit them down for a nice dinner. I'm like, fellas, Black men, gentlemen, you've been called here for a very important quest.
Look,
A respectful quest.
2023. That means 23, 2 men, threesome.
Oh!
You know what I'm talking about? Like it's already written in the year. You said this one thing that I want to double back on. You said you still growing in sex, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's like, I want people to hear that again. That like you should always be growing in sex. Like as you evolve, I think your sex should be evolving too.
Yes.
And it like this doesn't have to be a stale thing. It shouldn't be a stale thing. You know, I've definitely like, you know, seen some stale couples, you know?
Yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. I do feel like I'm like evolving through sex, and I'm really, you know, this is a really beautiful, 40. I'm really excited for 40.
Really?
I'm really excited for 40.
You got ways to go though.
I do. But you know, Tracy Ellis Ross. That's the.
Wait, she's 40?
She's in her 40s, 50s, but like, you know, like she's gonna always be like just 40 in my mind, because like she's like the epitome, like she's like queen, mother, auntie, like she's just everything. So yeah, that's where I'm coming to.
Yeah.
The cleanse is feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. You know, I don't know what I want, but yeah, so this year, I'm gonna get I did close my last birthday with my dream threesome, and I'm gonna open up this year or have one this year of another dream threesome. Yeah, guys, get your fantasies.
Wow, get your dream
fantasies.
2023, the year of the dream threesomes.
Yeah, like we're like stop fucking around and just communicate. Now, I understand what I'm saying is maybe a lot easier for women and femmes and non-binaries to like take into account, right? Like I would say it's very easy for me to like approach and be like, excuse me, like if I'm not mistaken, you're single. Are you single? Like, are you interested in like fucking me in like this way?
Way easier, right?
Way easier.
Right.
Whereas if a nigga comes to me like that,
Yeah.
What the fuck? And I really want to unpack that.
Well, let's unpack it.
Okay, let's unpack it.
Where do we start with this? Because, so let's start with the scenario.
It has to be, I feel like it has to be a different, like, I mean, we know that the root of that is patriarchy. Like, we know the root of, like, that reason, like, why that isn't possible is because of chauvinism and patriarchy and all that shit. Like,
right.
if it just in world vernacular, right? But, like, I feel like that can't be, like, the only thing that, like, we rely on as, like, a reason for something. So, like, let's unpack it for a scenario.
Let's see then. Okay, so I think the root of it is I think it's the toxicity of the patriarchy, right?
The toxicity of the patriarchy.
And there's real hurt that has come from aggression like that
and violence.
And exactly. Like walking up to somebody and I think some of it is like if you say no as a woman, you don't know what the response is going to be from the person that's requesting
exactly.
it, and sometimes it's not a request, it's more of a demand,
Yes.
And so like I understand it as like as much as I want to just be like, I just want to tell you what I want right now, and what I want is very blunt and is very like primal, but I can't just say it like that. I have to be aware of the social context that this statement is going to live in,
right.
And so like I don't know. I mean, like it's like harder, but again, I put that like that word challenging or harder in perspective of like like it's hard, but it ain't impossible.
It's not impossible. I think for the sake of fairness and like removal of like a double standard, like maybe nobody should like approach somebody like that. Granted, I know that I may have the privilege to like do that for like for many privileged reasons, like I'm pretty, right, or like like me being a woman, right?
Right.
But like, just start off with a date. I think if everybody starts off with a date, because like then if you get rejected past the date, you're not getting no ass.
But okay, but sometimes you don't got time for no date. It's like,
then why are you trying to fuck us? So you got time to fuck me, but you ain't got time to take me out to Red Lobster?
But what if you find somebody else that's just trying to get? They're just trying.
I mean, but that's what Tinder's for, and that's when I feel like it becomes like a hookup, like a fast fuck, and like I'm not looking for a fast fuck.
Yeah.
Whereas like I mean, before I say this, do I mean it?
I was gonna say like sometimes.
Before I say this, do I mean it?
Sometimes it's exactly what you're looking for.
How would I feel if a dude came up to me and was like, Iman, you are hot smoke.
Right.
I would just love to just have you and take great care of you. That just got my pussy wet.
I was gonna say that don't sound bad. Like that don't sound like a bad deal.
Like it's also a matter about cues, right? Like if there's like it has to be like some familiarity with the person. Yeah. Like like.
Well, it couldn't be no like random.
No random. But like someone that you're at least familiar with, someone that like you may have been able to throw an eye or a shoulder to. Right. Someone that you may have like express genuine care for, genuine compassion for, be like, like, you're beautiful. Like, I would do whatever you tell me to do. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Like, and if it came to me like that, I'd definitely give it a chance. I'd definitely give it a chance, probably. Like, let's get tested, or let's wear some condoms, and
then make it happen. See, now,
because then you can get a hotel room out of that. You can get a dinner out of that. You can get a few things out of that. Because that nigga's going to make sure that he sets up everything right to make sure that you're good.
Right. That courting.
There you go.
Now, like, as a guy, like, I've always wished that happened, that like somebody would come up with that type of confidence and be like, yo, Rich, like this the deal right now, and like I have a partner that absolutely made it very clear that she was like interested in me, and that's partly what turned me on so much to it, was like you just straight up told me like, look, I'm trying to fuck, like you trying, and it was like obviously more elegant than that, and and more communication than that, but that was the gist of it, and I'm like, bet, like that, okay, that's all I needed to hear. Yes. I'm also interested, blah blah blah, but it rarely happens where like, you know, the woman walks up to the dude and you know, asks that, which again, I totally understand.
Yeah.
I wish that could be dismantled a little bit more.
Let's dismantle it. Well, let's try to. I know we can't do it alone.
Well, a lot of that is on, I was going to say, a lot of that is on the men that, you know, to make it again, like soft and tender about promoting vulnerability, right? And making vulnerability accessible. I think men have to be a lot more aware of the vulnerability that they're making accessible to people around them.
Yes.
You know,
I think that like to get there, it does take a lot of like unlearning. Like, to be honest, like you can't be trash. Like, you just can't be a trash person. Like if you approach me like that as you are,
right.
as your own person, I would go.
Right.
I'd be like, what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, somebody off the street, I don't know what your private accountability processes have looked like. You know, it does take courting, but I think the first start of that is like unlearning everything that you've learned about masculinity, about dominance, about all of that shit, and just like focus on what it means to be a human. Focus on what it means to be a vulnerable human, and not vulnerable like with your like just to the world, but like vulnerable with yourself. And like, you know, I'm a hood wife. Like, I understand like the nuances of the world. Like, you know, the hood may not be able to provide you with that. You know, life and circumstance may not be able to provide you with that. I pray that you get there one day. I pray that the world does. I pray that the world does get there one day where like you do have space within yourself to be soft and tender with yourself.
Well, you said vulnerable with yourself. What does that look like to you? Like, what does it mean to be vulnerable with yourself to somebody that has no idea how
as
that
a man or
feels
as a woman?
As a okay. So if you want to speak as a woman, then maybe I'll speak as a man. What that means to me, being vulnerable with yourself.
I think for me, being vulnerable with myself is the line of, well, it's being grace, giving myself grace, being tender, how I communicate with myself. It's a lot of hurting my feelings. It's a lot of like holding myself accountable. Like, so like, let me break these down because I feel like I'm just using like a lot of like umbrella terms or like buzzwords, right? So it's like, you know, like yes, Iman, like you need to rest. Like you need to rest.
Yeah.
In all fairness though, how long is this, like what is the duration of this rest? What are you gonna use this rest for? Where is this rest going on
that's
after
that
that?
accountability.
Because it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, rest, but don't be lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm not producing art, I'm consuming art. Right? And I don't wanna like rely on like no excuses. So it's also like I cry all the time. Full-blown conversations with myself.
Yeah, okay.
In the midst of anxiety, in the midst of like trying to clean a mess, and it's 6 or 7, I'm standing in a circle of 7 different piles. Like I talk to myself exactly how I picture my dad would have talked to me. Like, okay, pretty girl, like, let's take a break.
Damn.
What would you like to do? And I go piece by piece, literally talk back to myself.
Yeah.
And I finish the shit out.
That is being vulnerable with yourself.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think as a man, being vulnerable with myself is in line with this conversation, understanding pleasure, right? And not being so much of a brute about pleasure, you know, like really just like being gentle with myself in the sense of like, what do you like? And you deserve what you like, and you deserve like a partner that gives you what you like, you know, and like, you don't have to take it. You can communicate with what you like, you know, but like, I don't think men have an understanding of what pleases them, you know?
Yeah.
I think they're just so used to like, just like taking pleasure as opposed to like experiencing pleasure, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a part of it. But then also like, you know, having closure with people that I got beef with, I think is a part of vulnerability, you know, and like closure in the sense that like, I want people to still know, even if we had beef or whatever, like I still respect the human of you, you know, like I think a lot of, you know, men walk around with this like, you know, fuck it, I'll do it without you type of mentality, and that's so lonely. You know, that's not vulnerable at all. You can't do shit by yourself.
That wolf pack mentality, Sigma, like
yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Or like this, like, I know a lot of niggas that have this like weird sense of loyalty. That's like, you know, even if I do the most like vile thing, you got to ride with me. 'Cause like you my bro. And I'm like, nah, nah, bro. Like, if
No,
you do some
nigga.
outlandish shit, like, you know, like that's distance.
Yeah.
You know, that means distance. And again, I still respect the human of you, but whatever, you know. So finding closure, and even like, I definitely have experienced that. Like the toughest people to have closure with are exes and family members.
You know, oh, you've just spot on, because it's a few things. We talked about closure before on an episode. Make sure that y'all check out Drea the Vibe Dealer episode. And we were talking about closure. And she was just like, you know, like basically like what you need closure for. Like if I've already removed myself from you, like what is there to like seek closure on? Like if it's the person to understand you, is the person to understand your perspective. And I think with that comes like, okay, well, do I really want to, should I have to argue a perspective for the sake of my relationship?
Right.
Was the perspective that big of a deal that would bring us to like break up with each other?
Right.
We couldn't just attempt to like learn me in that moment.
Well, so closure to me is reaching a point of indifference.
Yes.
Right. So reaching a point where if I have beef with you or tension with you, and we say that it's closed, you know, we got closure, but in reality, if I'm in a room with you, it's like it's either on site or like my mood shifts because I'm in the same space as you. That is not closure. You know, closure I think is like, okay, I'm in the same space with you right now, and I don't care. Like, you know, you over there, that's great. I'm over here, and again, not that I don't care about your being as a human. I just don't. It doesn't move my mood.
Yeah.
To think of you, to be in the same space as you, to talk to you, does not move my mood at all. I have had closure.
Yes. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've ever had healthy closure. Well, maybe yes. I'm kind of in the midst of that now. Like, understanding like there's a very possible strong chance for us not being together, but you are a partner, a life partner, and I would love for us to be lifelong friends. And I think that no matter what happens, whether our friendship will make us sustain in a relationship with each other, and our friendship will help us sustain not being in a relationship with each other. And I think for that sake, closure is definitely important. Closure get a little finicky.
It can.
Because my thing is like, you know, once you've been fucking somebody for a long time, I ain't really trying to be out. I ain't really trying to be fucking somebody new. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when like, I was like, you break up with somebody and they learned you. They learned your body. They learned your body, bro.
That's
they
hard.
learned your body. And I was like, oh my God. Now I'm back to performing.
Right. Square one.
Square one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Square one. Now I'm back to like, you know, like teaching somebody,
right?
Where it's like these aren't full relationships. Like for me to like teach you, like these won't be real teachable lessons. Like, well, they could be. I mean,
well, but you know what's crazy is niggas will stay in a relationship out of fear for square one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, niggas in gender neutral or like
in gender neutral people will stay in a relationship out of fear of square one.
Yes, that is very, very true. That is true. I think that I agree. Yeah, I agree. I do think that like, you know, some closure can be beautiful. Just be like, you know, tepid and cautious and like just be honest. Like just say like, hey, like we not really good right now. Do you want to talk about it?
But
I mean, like, talk about it is like just code for fuck again.
It could be, and also like closure does not mean that you have to include the other person in your closure. You can have closure totally with yourself. And you are totally fine of the situation and of the person. You know, maybe do a little therapy or whatever, and you got yourself some closure. You know, I definitely have had closure from people without including them in that closure. You know.
Yes. We was talking about familial closure.
Yeah, and that one's hard.
Yes, that's very hard for me. I think that's also something that I have to, like, when it comes about like back to us being vulnerable with ourselves. Oh, that's when I have to be the most brutally honest with myself. Like, it's
Right.
like,
With the
Iman,
family members, right?
Your fucking mother does so much harm to you. Like, you know, my plan was like, you know, I got my mom a crib and I was like, cool, like, you shouldn't need nothing else. Don't misbehave.
Right.
You drink in your house.
Right.
Like, whatever you got to do, whatever you have to unpack for yourself, don't do that. And that's felt like that's still not enough. And the best way for me to like move on, and not just in like romantic relationships, like I look at my work relationship, my therapist be calling me fucking out. I think about my work relationships, and when communication doesn't feel right to me, there's a need to feel like defend myself.
Yeah.
And my therapist was like, do you need a response, or does she remind you of your mom?
Oh, shit.
Dr. Love.
Oh, shit.
Whoa, right? Like, really be calling me out. And that's something I had to be honest with myself. So it takes a lot of humility.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of like, okay. Cause like, as much as like we bad bitches, like, you know, like, and like, you know, city girls up 1,000 points, like hood wife, like, you know, what's a hood wife to a bottom bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like and like we say this and like we trump it. But like, I think that being a bad bitch and being a hood wife is like ultimately like equal being like, yes, this is like two things can exist at the same time, right? Like you're being hurt, and take that in, of course, validate your feelings.
Yeah.
But what does it also mean to take a step back and reflect?
Right.
And to say like, maybe you can switch the formula up for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of hard to get to that because like talking to people make me nervous. I mean,
Would you say you're a confrontational person?
No, I hate confrontation.
Ah.
I hate confrontation because if I fight, it's because I have to fight.
Yeah.
If
Survival.
I fought.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. Like, and my thing is like people don't talk the way I talk.
Right.
Like I'm very intentional with how I speak. It's no hello. It's happy Monday. How are you? Like peace, love.
Right.
Like very intentional with every single word that I use. And, you know, I have no problem taking accountability. Like what I'm hearing is that there was a crossing the boundaries that I did. And I don't like that about myself.
Yeah.
Can you maybe like tell me on things that I can do to improve upon?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's like, it's a big deal to not be afraid to apologize for shit.
yes. So that's like you validate your feelings, but then you also have to take a step back and be like, okay, maybe there's something else I can do. And I think that when you find that other thing that you could do, then you may elevate you a little bit more.
Facts.
That's what works.
Facts. And that shit is liberating for real.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's so much easier to be like, I could just like fight this person. And fight is like a general term, right? Like you could throw hands, you could yell at somebody, you could like really put somebody in their place. And you know, that's easy though.
Yes.
That is easy, especially if you are built like that, and that's the world that you come from. Of like, I like that's a lot of my family members, and like and even like, particularly like, I love my mother very much, but I picked this up from my mother of like, if I got a problem with somebody, like I know how to articulate the problem very well. I know how to argue very well, and I know how to win very well. You know, and like, and we could do that in a lot of different ways. You know, like I got a playbook of this shit. You know, like so, and we've talked about this before, right? Like this, like this, I guess, other side of like, you know.
I was just gonna go to that. I was just about to go to that.
And it's there, and you know, it's often tended to the world, but like there are people and there are situations where you know, like the brand steps aside and the human takes over, and it's like my human knows how to survive very well, you know. So like,
yes, I want to come back to the persona, because this is also bringing up a point of like capacity too, right? Like I'm striving to be fair, but what I feel like is I don't have the capacity to be like peace and love with niggas in my DMs.
yeah,
You feel me? That's not being like, you know, like sexist or whatever, right? It's just like you could tell from a DM the energy of the song.
Yep.
You can tell from the DM is the energy of the song. Like if I could be very polite with you. I could be very quick, like, pardon me, love, can you remind me where I know you from?
Yeah.
And I may have fucked you. I may have fucked you before.
But I don't remember you.
I don't remember you,
Right.
sweetheart.
Right. Right.
Like, what's the fault? Like even if I did fuck you, I wouldn't remember.
Right.
And if I didn't fuck you, I still don't remember.
I for sure don't remember your ass.
So,
Right.
so what's the real chow here? Like, what are we really like talking about here? And so, you know, if I say like, hey, I don't have the capacity, or especially like in my cleanse that I'm doing, I'm noticing like the conversation of like, what am I prioritizing, my peace versus stability, right? So there's like niggas who like, you know, who like need like feet pics from me, like, and they want them now, right? And like that's some quick coin, right? Or like, you know, having a trick and like, you know, like you got to provide that fantasy, like that's a quick coin, right?
Yeah.
But in the midst of my cleanse, it's chaotic.
Damn.
It's chaotic, like, and like you don't give a fuck that I'm cleansing. You just care about getting a fucking nut off right now.
Right.
So it's like, how do I prioritize like my peace versus stability's sake? And that's where like, you know, different responses or like, you know, different things may come into play.
That's real. That's real. You know, that's something that like, as I always think about, like, you know, that interaction that like people have with a celebrity or some shit, you know, or somebody that they look up to and it wasn't a good interaction, right? Like maybe they like wrote, you know, they ignored them or they said something to them that was like, you know, dismissive or whatever. And I always say, and then they walk away with the narrative of like, oh, so and so is an asshole and so is like a bad person because they told my friend to shut up one time, you know. And I'm like, all right, yeah, but like that's a whole ass human being that, you know, and maybe you caught them at a bad time type shit. And now there are shitty people out there, obviously, right? But you're right, like not everybody has the capacity to be graceful to everybody all the time. You just can't do that shit. Like I be on people cut me off on the street and I'm like, yo, fuck you and your whole life, bro. Like what you just cut me off, like I was, you know, you messed up my whole flow right now, you know. And
I was walking to the beat and everything.
Right, like I was singing and you cut me off, like damn, you know. And so it's just understanding the human of you, you know. Like I'm gonna yell at people on the road. That's what I do, you know. Like and I'm gonna get mad at you know, things that other people maybe see as petty. But I think having that grace for yourself and being like, okay, let me put this into perspective. I might like yell at somebody in my car where nobody else can hear me at this other driver. Do I want them to get into a car accident? Fuck no. Like, no, I don't want you to like blow up. Like, you know, like I'm just gonna like, I don't know. I'm going on a rant, you know, but the Cavassier talking, but like, but I agree. It's just understanding your capacity. I think that's a part of having vulnerability with yourself is understanding your own capacity for like, I can't be soft and tender all the time. And matter of fact, like that, it might be more detrimental to be soft and tender in a certain situation.
Yes. Let's fucking talk about it. Like I just got a reading done from Samaje. Shout out Samaje Zion.
Shout out Samaje, yeah.
And they basically was telling me like the ways I communicate, or like it was something that I was like pretty confident I was gonna. We still good?
I'm just switching back.
Oh. They was like it was something that I was like pretty confident in, or something I was coming to that I was confident in, and that was the way. And what I feel like it was telling me to release, amongst other things, was docileness, like being like just having a docile energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that like what I was mistaken, like me being like peaceful and tender for and like graceful, was just me just being like timid when that's not me. Like I'm not a timid person, like, but I don't strive people to fear me. Right. I don't strive people to, I'd rather be loved than feared. Yeah. I would much rather be loved than feared. I treat my men good, but not too good to where they don't need me. And like, you know, I would rather be loved. And I was like, am I really speaking out of like tenderness and love right now? Or am I just speaking out of like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's not serving me. That's not serving me. Because what I'm finding is that like people think I'm that one. Not the one, but they think I'm the two. And I'm like, okay, all right. We're gonna lay that to rest. We're gonna lay that docile energy to rest. So it does sometimes underserve you, and it takes finding that balance. And I think, like you said, being vulnerable with yourself, and a good vulnerable exercise is to write what your values are and how you protect those values. And whatever protects those values, that's what your boundary is.
Yeah, and that's the energy you keep around you. You know, it's funny. This is like a little side note, but recently I wrote down, not my values, but I wrote down like just my top interests, because I'm trying to like revamp like social media and stuff, and like, you know, just kind of like I've just been doing some research on like what's gonna kind of catch, what's gonna grow the social media, the followers and everything. And everything that I was looking at led me to like making shareable content, and which seems obvious, right? And I kept on overlooking the number one thing on all these lists of like make sure it's shareable, right? And then I stopped and I thought, and I'm like, what really is shareable content? Like what's gonna make somebody be like, oh, I want other people on my page to also see this, and so I had to do some investigating of like not only what I value, but like in terms of like what are my interests, and like it was hard for me to do that. It was hard for me to write down like at the things that I'm interested in because I kept
outside
on like,
of your persona.
Yeah, exactly. Outside of the persona, like what am I interested in that I would be willing to let people get a peek into?
Yes.
And like I say, like the anime and the comic book stuff, but like that is really my interest, but it's not even just like that, but it's like all the parallels that I see in the real world that are in these fictional worlds, like it's just like I love living in those spaces, and there's like this, I talk about fantasies, but like there's not like sexual fantasies, but fantasies of like these characters that find this source of power in themselves to literally level up over whatever is in their obstacle.
And that's inspirational.
That's so inspirational. And I carry that with me as an artist, and like in my values of being like, you know what, like I have that power in me to like to destroy this obstacle that's in front of me, and so like I feel you on that. And it's so much harder, it's so much easier said than done to like really understand what you value, and what you're interested in and shit like that. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I think like, what do I value? I think like when we say like morals and values, does anybody really know what that is, right? Like, I think in the idea of like a moral compass, and like a value, like as like, the lines that you don't want to cross, or like what's important to you, like your integrities, like where your integrity lies.
Yeah.
And it takes looking into yourself. It takes that vulnerability piece.
And a lot of like asking like why
and what does it serve,
and then like continue to ask that until you get to like the root of that shit.
Yes.
Like I was just watching a show called White Lotus on HBO.
Is that like it's kind of like a star-studded show, right? But it has Natasha Rothwell.
Who's that?
Kelly from Insecure.
Kelly from yes, it does. Season 1, yeah, it does, yeah. So both seasons are pretty good, right? And in one of the seasons, there were these characters that were kind of like there's two couples, right? And then some of them start thinking that some weird play is going on with some of the other, like maybe like my partner is messing around with this other person's partner, we can't really tell type shit. And the person I was watching it with, we had this conversation about honesty, right? One of their core values is honesty. And I started thinking about like, well, what is honesty?
How deep can that go?
Right.
How deep can that go?
But how much honesty? This person was like, well, I just value 100% honesty. Okay, but what does that mean for real though? Honesty could be like, okay, like not only physically where was my body, but like what was my mentality? Do you need to know my thoughts? Do you need to like that's on it? That's
being
100%.
transparent.
And what like to what
extent?
To what level, right? Because at some point, like you should have privacy as a human being. Like not everything needs to be laid out on the table all the time for somebody else to see, right? We are too flawed to be giving ourselves totally to somebody else, right? You will get hurt that way, right? And you should be. And this person has also been like like. I want to give my 100% of myself to somebody else. And my thought, I'm like, I don't think that that's good. You should be keeping some of yourself to yourself. Yeah. Right. And again, when it comes to that honesty thing, like just really think about what kind of honesty do you really value in a partner, right? What do you really need to know to be happy with the rest of your day? You're right. And that can vary depending on who it is, right? Some people really need to know, like, who are you with? Other people are like, I don't need to know who. I just need to know that you coming home to me at the end of the night.
There you go.
So I need to know.
There you go.
Everything else is play.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever works for you, and hopefully you find somebody else that see eye to eye on that shit, you know. But I think it becomes difficult when one person's like, all I need to know is you coming back home to me, and the other person's like, well, I need to know who you were with, where your body was in proximity to other people, what you were thinking.
And then you have to figure out where your capacity lies to fucking deal with that.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
And that comes with hurting yourself. Be like, I love you, but for the sake of like my love for me, I love you.
Talk about it.
But I love me more.
That's hard.
That's really hard. And then that's like when you get back to like that friendship. Like you have to unlock
Hopefully.
that friendship.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm being brutally honest,
right?
like, I mean, I'm not drunk, I promise you. But listen, I don't mind you tripping on me a little bit. You better trip on me a little bit.
like a little like jealousy kind of like. What
I
you
don't
mean?
know how I feel about jealousy. I do understand like jealousy in the eye of admiration can be healthy. But it's like Jill Scott says, like, if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So it's like, if like, you know, I don't know, if I'm supposed to call you or something, like when I got for work or something, you didn't fucking call me. What's up with that? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be, but you know, like if I get home, like, you know, gently walk me to a wall and be like, you had something to do today, didn't you? Oh, right. I was supposed to call you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sorry, no, this ain't that. Like, I don't mind that, right? But I think that, like, you know, there is, if I'm being honest, like, there's things that I do in relationships that I wouldn't want done to me.
Oh, that's
Like-
see that. Oh, shit can get sticky like
Who the
that.
fuck is you talking to? Who
Yeah.
the fuck-
Okay. So what are some of those things?
Okay, some of those things might be like, well, it's really clear communication.
Okay.
I think that like communication needs to be very fair because I will blow your phone up just to talk to you, like send you 1,000 TikToks a day, like, you know, and I want that like returned to me, especially when it comes to like plans and like just knowing your whereabouts, like shit be going on out here. So definitely like that.
Yeah.
But okay, so especially like in open dating.
Yeah. We about to get into some shit right here. Yep.
I don't care, man. I'm the HBIC. I'm the head bitch in charge, right?
Okay.
And I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong, right? But like, you know, okay, I'll give you a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
It's not my car. It's his car.
Okay.
But like I found like I had a hair like on my scarf like in the car. Like and I pulled the hair off in the car. And I was like, let's keep them out the car, shall we?
Oh, okay.
But it's not my car though. So I mean,
okay.
so I'm making the shots on a car that's not mine.
Right.
Whereas like if I was like, nigga, who the fuck you think you finna make rules for in my fucking car? That's not fair. That's not fair, right? Like, you know, shit like that. Like,
Okay. So follow up question.
Okay.
About honesty. Like, what level of honesty do you need from a partner?
oh, I had a good response for that too because I had thought about it. I think like I want you to be honest with me, not brutally honest with me though.
Okay.
Like I think
You don't need to know thoughts that's going on with
no,
somebody.
but like you know, it will definitely get to the point like if my fit is bogus, like you know, tell me.
Oh, sure.
Like you know, like don't have me out here looking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think like that's just how far is honest do I want to go? Like,
Right.
I would love for you to tell me like you know things about sex that you will love.
Okay.
I really do seek that level of honesty. And maybe like as far as about feelings, I do strive for you to be totally honest with me about how I make you feel in the midst of arguments.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's like one of the reasons like I really stopped my cleanse because like I drink like my mom, who drinks like her dad, who drinks like his dad. And I blacked out. I go there.
Yeah.
I go there. It's no blood in sight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I argue like very angrily and I couldn't really see that because like next thing I'm waking up in like a pool of sweat and like not with you beside me. So it's like, fuck, I know I did something.
Right.
And I can't see that in the midst of alcohol. So I think, tell me how I'm making you feel in the midst of an argument.
I'm gonna give you a scenario.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So say your partner takes a vacation out the country.
Okay.
Right. What kind of level of communication do you need and it's a week-long vacation?
Okay. Are they going with somebody?
They're going with a homie, childhood friend.
Same sex or opposite sex?
Same sex.
Okay.
Okay. They about to go to I don't know, what's a place that you could go to?
Also, shout outs to
Shout out Carlo.
Carlo.
Carlo, what's a place that you could vacation to?
Like Mexico.
Okay.
Like the Caribbean and stuff.
Caribbean. They going to the Caribbean, right? It's a birthday. It's a big birthday. They going to the Caribbean. You know they like to get lit. You know they look good.
Okay.
What kind of need? Yeah, exactly. What kind of daily communication do you need?
Well, I don't know if it's a time difference and if that matters, but for me as Iman Loren, like who seeks like ethical, non-monogamous relationships, more so partnerships than anything, right? I would strive for you to have a grand fucking time. Mm-hmm. Do some cocaine off a stripper's butthole. Do one for me. You know, get your dick sucked in the ocean.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and like every time you get back to your room, check in with me. And what I'm hoping for, and what I would love is text me throughout the day. Like ask for pictures of me throughout the day. Call me and tell me you miss me. Hopefully, me giving you space makes you want to do that yourself. Because I don't ever want to have to tell someone how I want them to communicate with me. And I know that is necessary, but I'm a girl.
Yeah.
I'm a little,
you want to feel wanted.
Yes, I want flowers, but I don't want to tell you that I want flowers because then you go give me flowers because I want flowers. Like, no, it don't work like that. Like, read my fucking mind.
That's so funny, bro. I be getting so mad. I be getting so irritated when people expect me to read their mind, you know. But I think that's fair too, though. Like, you know, there's like, it's like a chemistry that you want with somebody that is like, it's almost to the level of like psychic. Like they could finish my sentence before I do type shit, you know. Like they get me to the point that I don't have to blatantly communicate that shit, because then you're right. Then you only get me this because I asked you for this.
And then like it also becomes like kind of like lame and like tedious, right? Like I love communication, but not so much where it like ruins like the mystic effect. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I love, it's nothing more like, first of all, shout out for you being from Philly. I love me some Philly niggas.
Let's go. Yeah. I said John the other day, and I haven't said that in a long
I love
ass
that.
time, bro.
I love that. I love that.
John right here.
I love that. And like one of like the greatest things about like talking to someone like from a distance is like y'all may not be like that fresh or that familiar with each other, but like when y'all talk, it's like very sporadic and just like gentle check-ins with each other. Like that feels like really good and sweet to me. And you know, I just like want someone to just like, you know, check in on me. Just always check on me, especially if we're together throughout the day, consistently checking in on me.
I got another question for you. I got another question. And I'm partially asking you these questions because, like, you know, these are things that I be thinking about too, you know. So like you said that you have a person that, like, you know, maybe it's like at a distance that you check in with. How do you feel about like dating somebody that has those people
that has their home bases?
Yeah, or like those people that are at a distance that's like, if they were closer, they would be a threat to what y'all got, but they not closer, so like, you know.
Wait, it's like if the person I'm talking to was closer to me, or if they also have people that's closer to them?
If they have people that like
are also far away?
Yeah.
I would feel tight as hell. Let me tell you something.
So this one. Okay, we got it.
I'm tight.
We got it, right.
First of all.
Because you got that, right?
God could have made me anything, but he made me a black woman from Chicago. So you better not have another Chicago bitch. You better not.
Right.
Because like, what?
That's me. That's my role. That's my role. Right.
That's me. What are we doing here?
Right.
Like you could have another city. Like, you know, yeah. Spread it, like spam the
You got your Philly John. You got your like.
Yeah, I think that's cute. You know, be safe, be honest. You know, I think that back to that honesty.
Right.
Like, you know, you figure out like how deep honesty needs to be.
Right.
If it's a matter about like, you know, you sharing your raw dick with other people, you need to be honest about that.
Hey, wait, let's
You
pause
need to
right
be-
there real
okay.
quick, because that's a mad important thing that I think people really overlook. If you having unprotected sex with other
Yes.
people, you have to be honest about that shit. I've been in a situation where the other person was having
It's a form of assault, first of all.
like
Coercion, or not coercion, what's it called? Informed something. Informed.
I don't even. It's
something.
called fucked up lying.
called fucked up.
That's what it's called. Like you cannot put somebody else's body at jeopardy for the sake of your own pleasure.
And then wrap it around, oh, well, we wasn't that serious. We wasn't that deep.
That's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about.
That's not. We talking about somebody's physical.
Yes.
You know, like damn near the rest of their life. Like
Yes.
you could fuck up somebody for the rest of their life just so you could get a nut off. Like,
Correct.
come on.
Correct.
Come on. So I just wanted to
Thank
call
you.
that out.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's as far as it wants, you know, like, I mean, yeah. I mean, not to make it Miss America, but I'm Chicago. They LA, you know, like
Let's go. Right.
it's nothing more that
Right.
needs to be dissected there. But just don't have another Chicago piece.
Interesting.
Don't be mad about that. But and also like I don't really need to know about what you're doing, or like if we're not together, like if we don't have no partnerships with each other. And I would just prefer to like, you know, I want you to feel comfortable enough with me to be like, so I went on this date. And I'm like, okay. Like was
yeah.
you like were you a gentleman? Like even when I'm like partnered with somebody and they go on dates, that's like some of my favorite check-ins. Like, were you a gentleman? Like, you know, where'd y'all go? What'd y'all do? And a lot of times, like, people have failed me in communication being on those dates, right? Like, I would prefer, like, if you're not gonna go and have sex with that person, that you come back to me after your date.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, you know, some people have their boundaries. Some people want to know. Some people don't want to know. It looks different for everybody.
It looks different for everybody.
But for me,
Yeah.
like, if you're, like, mine, like, you know, and we done went through some time with each other, like, yeah, like, you know, you could chuck it all back home.
Right.
I don't know about like if you fucked and then came back to me, but
Yeah.
I mean, I got a shower.
Yeah, that's that it's something that I think about a lot, especially being in a at this point like 2.5-year relationship,
Ooh,
maybe a little
almost
over
3.
than that. Yeah, long time,
Long
and
time.
so obviously like we both have evolved as people, even just from this the time we started dating, and so I always think about like what does that level of honesty look like to Rich today?
Yes.
And maybe that was different than yesterday or the year before. What does that look like today? And constantly revisiting that and investigating that, and then being open with my partner about it, and vice versa. And just figuring out where those boundaries are. Like if you go out, and you hit the town, what do I need to know when you? What do I think I need to know to feel at peace?
Yes.
Do I just need to know that you had a good time? I want you to have a good life and a good time and good moments, and you are allowed to have that without me.
Yes.
And so
And
when
then
you
come back and celebrate.
and
with
tell
me.
right, because like I want to learn new shit in my life, and like that's an opportunity to learn something new, And so like I love that. I love the idea of like go out, have a good time, and then come back and like just let me know like was it fun? Like what were the highlights of it?
Yeah.
Let's check in about it. And I don't need to know every little thing. I'm a real quick story. So I was recently in Indianapolis at one of my dad's friend's place, right from college, and we had dinner with them. And it was her husband, her, and her 2 kids, and she was telling us about this night that she went out with her friends dancing salsa, and she danced with this one dude like the whole night, right? And she was like, I had a blast. Like the joy in her story was infectious, And the husband was like having a good time listening to the story, and the daughter was like, you danced with somebody that wasn't daddy? And I was like, and the mom was like, yeah, like, like, and it was a good time. And the dad was just like shrugged his shoulders, like, I'm glad that you, and I thought that was a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing.
It's a great thing. Like he ain't trip about it. Now. Who knows? Maybe there was a longer conversation, whatever that we did. We weren't privy to, but like at least on the surface, that was a cool thing, because what was important, the bigger picture was she got to go out, feel sexy, feel wanted, feel these things that we just want to feel as
Yes.
human beings. And again, when you rest all of that on one other person,
It's too much.
in an 8 billion people world,
Yes.
you are like, you fucking up. You know that's too much to put on one other person. And so yeah, I just thought that was cool. And as I'm evolving, I'm realizing like all these little avenues that I think like you need other people to make you happy sometimes, you know, and
Yeah.
and there's like a certain level of restraint that you have to have in order to make a monogamous
And to
relationship.
keep it, and to keep that burn energy up, right? I think
Exactly.
it kind of goes like how like office husband, office wife type beat, right?
Right.
Like we'll never cross this line, but it's good to know that like our energy still flows like this throughout the universe. Like even though we may not be like single people,
Yeah.
we can like still have like that fire burn like respectfully outside of us, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like the ultimate form of it, you know, and that's still shit I'm working on. I don't want it to sound like I'm just like out here like, oh yeah, have as many office husbands as you want to feel
No.
sexy. Like, that's not
Guys,
how I'm coming, you
Don't
know.
fuck your coworker.
Look,
don't do that.
again, I've been in situations where that shit
Yeah.
is happening. No, that's.
I mean, it happens as long as it's consensual and like if like it happens. But just be careful.
Yeah, well, and don't be in a relationship when you do
Yeah.
that. But
Just don't fuck the boss. We'll start there. That's
start
the one.
there.
That's
Start
the one.
there.
Don't fuck
Right.
the boss.
Right. But like, yeah, that's really just the gist of it is like I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought because the Cavassier is taking
No.
over. But,
I do want to ask you, like,
Yeah.
so 2 points had come up. This like, compersion had came up for me, and do you have like when you're with somebody, do you feel like y'all should have a moment apart? Like y'all should also take some time apart so that you can like evolve as yourself, and so that you're not just like constantly like evolving attached to somebody.
most definitely. And I learned that from my past long-term relationship, which was like all about us moving as a unit, and then, there was a lot that I learned about that person that that crumbled that unit. And when that shit was over, I had no idea who the fuck I was, and it wasn't until like I took a trip to Philly, tripped on some acid, looked at myself in the mirror and was like, oh, this is who you are. This is who you will become, and then ever since then, I've been on a journey becoming that person,
Love that.
but it took a lot of, a lot of hurt from just giving myself up to somebody else, that like did not deserve that shit, and so now I'm all about like, let's nurture the unit of us, but let us make sure that we are nurturing like the individual side of things too, like
Yes.
I am like, what turns me on a lot is ambition, and like finding somebody
Talk
and
about
being
it. I hate lazy people.
Look.
Lazy people piss me the fuck off.
look,
And I'm
shout
not
out to
finna-
that illiterate lazy people piss me the fuck off. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
And you expect me to stick my dick in you?
but for real, like, and especially at this point, like, I'm a homeowner, I have
Oh.
multiple like kind of businesses, that are building, music, the Soft and Tender brand, an interview series, like a reputation at this point, and I'll be damned if I'm not with somebody
damned.
who doesn't nurture that, but also like know how to nurture their own shit.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's what you want. You
Yes.
don't want nobody that's just like kind of like waiting for you to accomplish shit, so then they could just be like, this is ours now.
Yeah, yes. Ooh, this conversation is so good because it goes deeper, right? Like, I don't know how I feel about soft life necessarily, right? But like, I want to be a kept woman. Like, yeah, like keep me.
Yeah.
Keep me. If some nigga came to me and was like, hey baby, I'm here to take you away from all of this. I'll buy you whatever building, whatever storefront you want in your name. Look, I just want to love you and take care of you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we know that no black woman is mediocre. I believe that every black woman deserves to like live in mediocrity, but like no black woman is mediocre. And I will be a kept woman, but I'ma still be doing a whole lot of other shit.
Yeah.
I'ma use this house our house and build a studio.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go be a kindergarten teacher because I can, and because like we like sell vegetables at the local market. Like I have space and capacity to do that, and like you want to support me and make sure that I'm happy. Like keep me.
Yeah.
Keep me. But know that I'm going to still be putting in work and I'm going to still be doing something.
Exactly. And like support doesn't mean that you don't got your own shit.
Yes.
Like, you know, like
yes.
support me and support your other your partner. That's beautiful. That's what it should be.
Yes.
It's like, you know, I'm going to bring my like what I've built to come support you, and you bring what you've built to support me, and that is what it's called, a partnership.
Yes.
It is a partner, you know, and even in a business term, like a partnership, both people have stake in what's going on, and both people in theory help expand what's going on.
Yes.
You know, and that's exactly what I think a relationship should be, is like both parties being like, we are partnered together on this. Therefore, like we are both dedicated to pushing this thing forward.
There we go. I completely agree. And I think that you also have to give your partners space to build other things outside of you. Like it may not be full-blown relationships, but let them build some opportunities. Let them build some networking. You never know. That dick may have came with a business card. You know what I'm saying? That pussy could have came.
Oh, so okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So I that's just how I am. You know, like you know. I as a woman, you know, what's yours is mine and what's mine is ours, right? But, you know, like build something with other people. I think for me personally, I also have this thing it's called compersion. So I don't necessarily get jealous when I see my partner with other people. I actually get like excited by it. Like I love the thought of like seeing like, wow, look at you flirt. I haven't seen that. Like that reminds me. That reminds me of when I first see it. And also like you're a fucking beautiful gentleman. Like the world deserves to see more of you. Like spread the love.
Yeah.
Glitter it up.
And you deserve to be flirted with and like reciprocate the energy a little bit. Like it provides this like this feeling for you that after some years, but like my grandparents been married for 50 years, not to say that they don't flirt, you know what I'm saying? But like there could be like a reinvigorating energy that comes with like a very like gentle flirt with somebody else. And again, you bring it back home, and that's where really you direct the energy that for the flirtatious energy, you direct it back home.
You be like, man, I saw this bitch today. And like, you know, we bought each other a few drinks, you know, and she just made me think of you, baby. Like, I know that sounds some OC shit to say.
But I think that's cool though. Like the fact that you even imagine that, like again, the multiverse, like there's a multiverse out there where like, you know, that is like fully realized, you know, where like you really dive into that level of openness, you know, and like take some of that and apply it to this universe too, and you be good.
Man, it's so many things I want to know. It's so many things I'm gonna ask you. We're gonna bring you back, but before we close this, I would love to ask you, what is a hood wife to you?
A hood wife to me, I think it's somebody that is like willing to get like really down in the trenches with you, you know, and especially like in the world of independent artistry. It's some deep trenches, you know. It's a lot of things that look fun about this life, and that are fun about the life of an independent artist, you know. But there are a lot of down moments, and to me, a hood wife is there for you in the down moments to be like, yo, I got you. I'ma hold it down in the moments that you can't hold it down, or like, you know, are just like not at the full capacity to hold it down. I got you.
Yeah.
You know, that to me is what a hood wife is. You know, it's like there's like this level of loyalty, of comfort and security that no other type of wife could give you but a hood wife.
We love that. This is such a good conversation.
Yeah.
I really fucked with this. It's so many other things I want to talk to you about, but
Hey, episode 2.
Part two of Rich Robbins. Thank you so much. Why don't you tell everybody like where we can find you, how we can support you, and all of that?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rich Robbins, but the O is a 0. All right. It's just like a long story. This white dude got Rich Robbins. He won't give it to me, but you know, still we rise. You know.
Yeah. Somebody got my Red Light Polo TikTok.
Are you serious?
I'm dead ass serious with my book cover and everything.
What? The
OC
what?
as hell.
That's okay. That's
OC.
different. We're gonna have to
I've
talk
worked
offline
there.
about that one and how to plot on that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, at Rich Robbins on streaming platforms. Follow the Soft and Tender series. You can follow it at Soft and Tender series on Instagram. We got a lot of big things planned music-wise, a lot of great features coming up, great songs coming out, and a lot of really good conversations coming out too with some people that honestly you really just want to get to know, So and in spaces where they being open in a way you've never seen them be open before. So that's what we got going on. So make sure you follow.
Yeah.
And say what's up if you see me out in Chicago.
Yes. Rich Robbins,
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let me put a applause on. There we go.
well, it was supposed to hold. But that's Rich Robbins, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies and gentlethems. Of course, this is The Real Hawaii Chicago, brought to you by BlkHoneyBun Productions in collaboration with Rise Above and Prosper. We also want to give a very big,
Yes, thank you, Carlo. Let's give it up for Carlo.
yes, we also want to give a major thank you to the Let Us Breathe Collective for letting us use their wonderful space breathing room.
Yes.
Let's give it up for them.
Yes, and of course, I've been your boy / girl, Iman Loren like Polo, your host of The Real Housewives of Chicago,
You gotta give
season
it the
4,
clap. Give it
episode
the
2.
audio.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The loudest clap. Yep. For Iman Loren. There it is. The legend. Yes.
Thank you. And this is The Real Housewives of Chicago, a real show
With hot sauce stories.
Can you fuck me like you really want to? Can you love me like you do your hustle? Can you feed me past the food and grubbing? Can you clean me like it's church on Sunday? In the tubbing, scrub a dubbing, clean the fountain, make a wish and throw 100.